Hey, it's Melissa with Sincerely Creative Mom. Today we're going to make an everyday wreath. This could actually hang right after the new year, of course. It has flowers on it, but it'd be perfect. And then it could hang right up until fall. So this was actually a kit. It did sell out to our friends on our email list. The kit included the sign, the pancake bundle, the pancake frame bundle, which is the 14-inch, the 10-inch, and the sign extender. It included ribbons for your ribbon tails. It included ribbons for your bow. It included a full roll of mesh, which I've already gone ahead and cut to make this video faster. And then, of course, your pipe cleaners and the zip tie mounts to go on your sign. So there is also a cutting instruction video that we have on our YouTube that will help you identify which ribbons are for your ribbon tails and which ribbons are for your bow. It'll help you prep your sign. It'll tell you tips on how to cut your mesh and what pieces to use in certain specific ways. So that video is also in YouTube. I did that separate so that this video would go just a little bit quicker. Okay, so we're going to use our 14-inch frame today, and we're going to start by adding our pipe cleaners to the frame in all the spots where the notches are. So you'll see this frame has a notch and a hole coordinating. And so not every one of the holes have a notch. Those extra holes are there to help you in the very end when you might need help attaching your sign or your bow to the frame. It just, instead of going around the whole frame, it just allows you just a little spot. So that's what those are there for. But they don't have a notch, so we're not worried about them right this minute. So we're going to add our pipe cleaners in a certain way. Also goes right in that hole, no problem. Right around the notch, great. And then I'm going to twist it right near the notch. So I'm going to twist it on the edge here, and I'm going to twist it on the edge there. Actually on the wood, so not in the notch, on the wood. But this is just going to help our layers and separation. Now, I know you might think that, well, that doesn't sound like it's a great big detail, but actually it does very much help our layers look nicely in the end. So I'm going to take this all the way. So every little bit counts when we're talking about the details in an overall design. So I'm going to try to tell you all the little details that I do, that some of them I've been even discovering most recently that I didn't even realize I did. So I'm going to do that through this video. Okay, so again, I've already pre-cut our mesh, and I already have our sign being prepared for us. So the sign is just waiting for us to be to need it. Okay, so I'm going to start with our mesh. So we did cut them 20 inches long on our mesh. We're just going to ruffle right up that center. I'm going to try to go to the center as best as I possibly can. Again, I'm using a certain specific piece of the mesh that came off that roll. So make sure you're watching that video to help with just some extra hints. Crisscross, twist, twist. I'm going to overlap this one. So this is our pancake wreath design. So our overall design is going to be round and flat like a pancake, mostly flat. And so our ruffles need to be round and mostly flat like a pancake. So we're going to do that all the way around. So I'm just going to scrunch up here. Scrunch up, scrunch up, scrunch up, scrunch up. Scrunchy scrunchies. Come right down on top. Get these pipe cleaners out of the way. Right down on top. Gently look for those pipe cleaners. Now you notice the pipe cleaners I'm using are brown. I'm not positive what color came with the actual kit. It could have been brown, but you're not going to see the pipe cleaners in the end. That's our goal, okay? Our goal is to not see those pipe cleaners at all. So So it didn't matter if I used yellow, brown, black. Our goal is to not see them at all. So I'm just overlapping those. Now what we will do is we'll work on the full outside layer first before we go into the inside layer, okay? And another thing, I'm going to stop right now and say, if you've never used mesh before and you purchased this as a kit, because this was a kit that we offered, it did sell out to our email friends, so it didn't really reach the interwebs. But if you purchase this as a kit and it's your very first time using mesh, I would suggest taking a little bit of what's left over here and practicing first. Because once you ruffle that mesh and then unruffle it, it's not so forgiving, okay? It's a woven material. It will fray as soon as you cut it. And our goal is to have the fraying stay at a minimum, okay? We want it to stay at a minimum. So if you see here, it's not fraying there at all, you see. As soon as I ruffle this up, I'm scrunching it, it's going to start to come undone. Those ends are going to start to peek out because I didn't go straight up one of those little lines all the way. But our job is to cover and conceal and make that what is it called? Fraying as minimum as possible. Okay, that's our goal. I'm just going to ruffle these all the way up underneath. You know, now that I think about it, I think I did post this. I think I did get to post it on the internet. Our email friends did get first dibs though. Alright. Right down on top. Okay. Right down on top. Crisscross. Twist, twist. We do have a variety of kits coming up. Just general, kind of everyday. Some of them have greenery. Some of them have florals in them. So make sure you are watching out for that. Now again, mostly round, flat like a pancake. Okay, some pancakes aren't all the way around, right? The idea here is to put a nice layer of mesh on the bottom so that it's a supporter and another layer of texture for our ribbons. There we go. Now the mesh that we're using is a Deco Mesh, and it's called a border mesh. So all the fun stuff happening in this mesh is all around the border, which is totally fine because that's the only part we're going to see. Okay, that's about the only part we're going to see in this design once we're done with what we are doing. Okay, I'm going to move that out of the way. I'm going to keep those on there though because they're drying. I'm going to set those aside. All right, our ribbon for our ribbon tails, beautiful floral, and of course the plaid. I do want to point out something. The plaid, the whole roll of the plaid, the lighter color and the darker color, it varies. You see how this one is more in the center, okay? It's all the same roll. It's just the way the pattern is. But I'm sure, and if I didn't point it out, you probably wouldn't have noticed. I noticed it as I was cutting it, and I'm sure it's going to turn out just perfect. So, as per the instructional video where I cut everything, actually that video was a Easter kit that I used to cut, and it would just use that as a reference back for our general, I'll leave that, for our general cutting instructions. But what I did was I took both of our ribbons, identified which one was the tails, and then I cut them. I dovetailed the end. I took my favorite, put it on the top. So even if you didn't get this as a kit, or if you haven't purchased one of our kits, that cutting instruction video is very helpful. It talks about ways to minimize your fraying. It talks about ways to, so many things, okay, to prep your sign. Whoopsie. So how to get the most out of your roll of mesh, what pieces to use for your 10-inch frame, what pieces to use for your 14-inch frame for this design. So the kit comes with, this particular kit came with a full Pancake Wreath bundle. So it came with the 14-inch, it came with the 10-inch, and it came with the sign extender. So you did have some left over, like you have some, after I've cut all the mesh for here, you did have some left over. And so you could use the mesh for the 10-inch frame. However, there's a specific way I'd like for you to cut them if your intent is to use the 10-inch frame also, which is totally great. I want you to do that, obviously. But I do want you to use certain pieces of the mesh. I know it seems like maybe a small detail, but it is very helpful in your designs when you're creating. This, I'm so looking forward to seeing this all together. So I'm going to pick up my wire cutter for one time and cut off our excess here. So I just twisted those about 7 or 8 times, just enough. It's about 1 inch or so, just enough for when I do our next step, the ribbon doesn't come out of the pipe cleaner. Okay, again, here's little details, but big important, right? I'm gonna push this in, just fold it in and push the whole thing down. It's just gonna really bring that in and hold it together. Then very important, okay, this is a big important thing, pull them apart and pull them apart. Pull them apart up and down and pull them apart side to side. I'm obsessed with this ribbon combination. It is not even funny. This is so pretty. Of course, plaid is my favorite, so there's always that. But okay, push that in and then push it straight down and then lift these up and down, side to side, up and down, side to side. This is way I love this. I'm not even really, some people are really hummingbird people. Not that I'm not. It's not, one of my things. Some people, the hummingbirds are a thing. But the sign and the ribbon and the plaid, oh, so cute. Again, I'm not pushing in. I'm just folding that piece over. I'm not pushing in. Just fold it over and push straight down, okay? Again, this is going to help. These tips here are going to help with the ribbon separation, the layer separation, and we really do need that separation there. So make sure you're doing that tip for sure, right? We're just going to fold that in, not push it in, just fold it in and then push straight down to kind of keep it all in place. Just trying to make it more compact and keep it, right where we want it, right? Apart, side to side. Perfection here. Fold in, push down, apart, side to side, apart, side to side. Also, I'm going to point out really quick, some of you, this isn't necessarily pertain to the kit itself, but some of you, if you're purchasing rolls of ribbon, and sometimes they splice them together. This one happens to be where it's spliced together, and so I kept that part for myself. But what I want to show you is, number one, I used it, okay? Number two, I have it in such a way, it happened to fall, I should say that. It happened to fall in such a way where I knew it was going to be completely covered. So I didn't want to, not use all of what I had, and I needed that one piece. I needed that one piece for my own design. This is going to be so pretty, y'all. So, I just made sure it landed. It ended up in a spot on the first layer, so not on the top layer, on that first under layer, and then, just in perfect spot. So it really worked out well. And I just want to tell you that because just because you might have that happen to you, don't think, oh, you can't use that piece, okay? Sometimes I've even had them where it comes from the manufacturer stapled together. So it's glued and stapled. Sometimes if I really feel like if it lands in that kind of spot and I really feel like I need that piece of ribbon and it's not really glued well, sometimes I'll staple it myself, right? So don't let your supplies go to waste. Don't say, oh, I can't do 12 twist ties or I can't do 12 tails, so I'm not using it. You know, sometimes you just got to find a way. Or if you're using a 10-yard roll and let's say that last piece is just like crumpled and it's not great, or even sometimes let's say your 10-yard roll sometimes is a little short and it doesn't give you a full 30 feet on the roll. So what I do then is I keep all the pieces on the outside. Okay, those have to go there. And then where the missing piece was, or the piece that's going to be short, I sometimes put that underneath where the bow goes, because that bow will give a lot of distraction to what might be missing underneath. So keep that in mind when you're going along. All right, so we're going to go next layer right on top, exactly the same. So exactly what we just did, exactly what we just did, right on top. Okay, right on top. So the outside pieces of mesh, the twist ties are a little further apart than the inside pieces. So that means our outside pieces just kind of touch. They don't really touch, like they don't overlap each other, okay? The separate pieces of mesh don't overlap. We are still overlapping the ruffle itself. What happens here is these inner pieces completely overlap each other. So this piece that goes here is going to land here. It's going to completely overlap that, which means, good news, that the frame that y'all can see right now, this layer of mesh will start to help cover it up, and then the layer of ribbons, and then the sign, and then the bow. So we don't have to worry about that layer, that frame being exposed. Right? We don't have to worry about that frame being exposed. Your customer does not want to see it. I don't mind it because it's I'm just kidding. But it's based on my Pancake Wreath design. I co-invented this frame. We have a patent pending. So I love the frame, right? I might not want my customers necessarily to see it, but I love the frame. But you know, we want to make sure that we're doing just a really good job covering that frame up. No matter if you're doing this design or any design, you know, when you're talking about the actual frame, unless sometimes we're using grapevines and those are really like part of the element, sometimes they're part of the whole design overall. That's very different. When we're talking about this wooden frame, right, it's not part of the design. So as much as I love that frame, this frame, you know, we want to make sure we're covering it up. So I'm pushing this all the way down there, getting it all the way to that, well, all the way down to the frame, really. Pushing it down. I don't want those pieces just kind of laying in there, just kind of lackadaisical. I want them down and in place, helping this overall design be nice and flat. I love, now, I'm not a purple person. I'm a pink person. I am team pink all the way. I'm team pink. Okay? And this wreath is a lot of purple. I'm in love with it. It is so pretty. It might have something to do with the fact that a lot of the purple is a plaid, and I love the plaid. If there's a plaid, I'm gonna listen. I'll just say it. I'm gonna force feed it to you. I love plaid. Some people like the polka dots. The polka dots are cute. Polka dots are cute. I love polka dots. But if I have a choice of a pattern, I'm going with plaid. Some people like floral. Some people like stripes. I don't know why, just the way it is. I don't know, what's your favorite pattern? What's your favorite pattern? Do you like plaid? I hope you like plaid. If you bought this kit, I know you like plaid. There's some really cute, and I know I'm talking to myself, but I am talking to you, so just in my head, I'm pretending like you're here with me. There's some really cute Easter pastel plaids out right now. So cute. You guys, keeping these, like flipping them kind of upside down helps keep them in place. So I know it might, you know, and then once you have all of them in place, they stay. Another thing I'm going to point out right now is that we haven't gone back to play with any of the ribbons. They're moving. I can see this mesh is moving that one ribbon all the way around. I'm not going back in and fluffing them out just yet. I will at the very end, after I have the sign on, after I have the ribbon on. Now, if you haven't already, I'd love to make sure that you are connecting with us and following us and able to see all of our new stuff that comes out. Please make sure you check out learnfrommelissa.com. So if you go to learnfrommelissa.com, you put your email address in there, and then the next box you'll click on, and it'll give you a whole list of so many great things that we offer. Very quick and easy. Links to get to all of our other social medias, some free resources, some our list of our favorite suppliers, a list of our favorite tools. So many great things on that learnfrommelissa.com. So if you haven't visited yet, please make sure you check that out. Also, our phone number is there if you need to contact us or get on our text message list. I can't remember what else is there, but all great information there. Okay, right up the center here, again 14 inches on our ribbon tails. If you go to learnfrommelissa.com, you can also see any upcoming classes we have. There's a direct link for the pancake frame itself. If you're just looking to buy the pancake frame, there's a direct link to where you can find our kits. What else is there? It's just a great, everything's in one spot, nice and easy to click around. And then what you do is, once you get into the list where you can see all the different links, save that to your computer, and then you can always go back. Just save it as learnfrommelissa.com, and then you can always go back. Or if you forget, you can also go back to learnfrommelissa.com, and then you just have to put your email address in again, and then it'll bring you that same link. So that's okay there too. At least I think that's okay. I'm sure you can. All right, right up that center, going in with our last layer of ribbon, second layer of ribbon. And then on this layer, we have one different thing that we're going to do. Just, again, to help with that separation of the layers, we really want to make sure we're getting to completely see that outer layer, and this inner layer isn't hiding the first layer. Okay, again, 6 or 7 times. I'm cutting off the excess, even though this is going to go directly under my sign. I wouldn't see this at all, one bit, but just to make sure, and just to make it look better on the video, if you want me to be honest. Okay, last thing, don't touch those, Melissa. Not last thing, but okay, here's what we're going to do now. Remember I said on the outside layer I want you to push that in, but push down. On the inside layer, which is the layer we're working on right now, I want you to push in and push in. Okay? Now watch what's going to happen here. These are nice layer here, right? Nice layer. And when I push in, let me just hold this so you can really see. When I push in, it just brings it in a little bit more. So now I'm very distinctly seeing that two, I mean I can see the 2 layers here. I can see those 2 layers here. But I just brought that in a little bit more so you can see that. Now, I didn't realize I was doing that. For a long time, I guess I didn't realize I was doing that. And then one of the videos, I was just I mentioned it, and then I was like, oh, I guess I don't even say I do that. So let me just mention that. If you purchase this kit and it's your very first kit, welcome and congratulations. This gets very addicting. I started my business in 2014, technically 2014. And it has definitely grown. I used to always be the one that told everybody, they'd say, you should do this for a living, or, you missed your calling, you should do this, blah, 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 blah. And I would always say the same thing. You can't make money selling crafts. It was my hobby. I do this to relax. I was mostly really into scrapbooking back then, and I was just getting into wreath making. I'm here to tell you that I was completely wrong my whole life. As I would tell people, I did scrapbooking, I made cards, I would help with kids' birthday parties and do all sorts of fun stuff. Like, I don't know, it's just always been my thing. And then when I got into wreath making, life completely changed. Discovered the internet. I discovered Etsy. I discovered a really good business coach. Business training that helped me teach me all the things I didn't know. Okay, watch what's going to happen. Now, this is beautiful. Watch what's going to happen. So I'm going to just take my clamps off because we're done with this. Watch. Oh my, this is a complete masterpiece. I am in love. And it's so purple. It's so purple. Oh my goodness, I love it so much. Just goes right in there perfectly. Now, I have notoriously been making my bows too big for some of the designs, and that's fine. No one ever said, hey, your bow's too big. But I really don't want to cover up the welcome. I certainly don't want to cover up the hummingbird. I don't want my bow to cover up my W, so I don't want it to go right here. I also don't want it to cover up all of this, okay? So I'm going to just slightly move us down a little bit. Now, there are holes here and here, okay? There are holes here and here for you to use if you want. I opted this time not to use them, and I opted to use the zip tie mounts. Now, if you want to use, what is this? If you want to use these, by all means, totally you can do that. But I'm going to opt to use our zip tie mounts. Okay, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to shift this down a little bit. Not a lot, a little bit. I'm going to shift it down a little bit because I want to be able to put my pipe cleaner to my bow about right here, and that bow is going to come up about the size of my hand or maybe a little bit more. So I don't want it to cover up all. Okay, I'm going to shift it down just a little bit. It'll make these appear to be a little bit shorter. That's all right. I just want to expose that up there a little bit more, and then my what are these? The zip tie mounts or the pipe cleaners will attach to the side to the frame right there. This might be one of my favorites. It's the plaid. I'm telling you, it's the plaid. It's so cute. It is so cute. And the floral, I've had this floral ribbon for a long time, and I had no idea what I was going to do with it. I love it. All right. I did, because the wreath was a little busy with the plaid and the floral, I did bring in some solids into our bow. I think it's going to really balance super nice. And I always do the same size bow. Now, I'm just going to tell you, you really don't need a bow for this one. I mean, you don't. It does a lot of talking all by itself. But we are going to add one. It might not be as big as I normally do, just because I really don't want to cover that sign. I don't want to cover the sign too much. So typically, my tails start at 7 inches, and my loops start at 6. I'm going to start my tail at 6 and start my loop at 5. Just to make it a little tiny smaller. It's not going to be small, but just to make it a little tiny smaller. And then from there, everything's going to get a little smaller. So I'm going to start 6-inch tail, 5-inch loop. So it's going to be a little different than any other. What happens is, you know, I make that, I make the pancake wreath so often, you know, it's the same size over and over. Okay, 6-inch tail, 5-inch loop. Couldn't have done that any more perfect, right? Just a little bit over, I guess. 6-inch tail, 5-inch loop. Pinch. Okay. Now, it is a solid color, but the stitching is a little bit different. So I'm still gonna twist, bring it in for my loop, eyeballing those two, making sure that they're about the same, and then I'm gonna pinch, and I'm gonna twist, and come up for our next loop. Now, this bow, this is the Lisa bow. This bow has 2 loops on one side and 2 tails on the other side and 1 loop. Okay, 2 tails, 2 loops, 1 loop. All right. So I went with the solid on the bottom. So I had a nice nest for our slightly different but coordinating floral. Okay, slightly different but coordinating. Now from here again, I said 6-inch tail, 5-inch loop. This is going to be about a 5.5-inch tail, just about a 5.5-inch tail, and then my loop is just going to be a little bit smaller than the last one. So I actually did a little bit over 5 inches. So this one's going to be 5 inches. Pinch, twist, loop. Now because the ribbon tails were busy, okay, they were busy. Got that plaid going in with all that color, the floral with all that color. I wanted to have an anchor ribbon on the bottom of this bow to kind of really just set it apart from the rest. One thing is here, my 2 loops are always going to go opposite of each other. So because the 2 loops are on the top, this one's 2 loops are going to go on the bottom. And I say top because this is actually going to be the bottom of our bow. The longest part of the tails will end up on the bottom. Whichever way I deem the bottom, it's going to end up on the bottom. Okay, so we're starting to see that those layers come in, and I'm going to come in with the blue. So again, another solid as to not be so busy. We have a nice busy floral going on the very top. Again, coordinating. Okay, definitely coordinating. Coordinating is just a little shade off in the blue, but still going in with all the blue colors in the sign. So I'm going to start with the tail, just a little bit shorter. At this point, there's not even necessarily a size per se. I'm just making sure it's a little shorter, a little shorter, a little shorter. Okay. Pinch, twist, loop, pinch, twist. So again, 2 loops are here, so the 2 loops are going to go up. This one is really nice because there isn't a one direction. They're just all directions, so I'm not worried about which way which ribbon is going. That's always nice. Okay. Oopsie. Caught on my nail there. So just for a visual, I'm trying to build that bow just the way I'm going to fluff it in the first when I'm all done. My shirt's tucked out there, sorry. There we go. Nice coordinating on the top. Now the top, slightly different. I'm going to have a like a 2-loop or 2-inch loop here on the top, and pinch, twist, loop, pinch, twist, loop, pinch, twist, and loop, pinch, and twist. Okay, now 2 loops here, so the 2 loops go down here. I'm going to cut that right off here. Okay. Just trying to place those kind of all in, put them all in kind of place before I lift that up. There we go. So we do have some extra pieces that we might consider using. Make sure my thing is on. We might use one of these. Just bear with me. Oh, okay. So I'm going to take this right up off here. So I'm just going to push down so it all kind of connects together and lift up. Before I get all the way up, I'm just going to push down again, making sure it all stays put. Now, if you follow me for a while, you know I have carpal tunnel pretty bad. And so me using the Easy Bow Maker really just allows me to make a bow at ease. And I can put those layers in there and hold on to it for me. It's not the proper way to use that tool, but it you know, very much does help me. So that's the way I do it. All right, then I'm going to for sure fluff our bow. I'm going to just, now you see the pipe cleaner. Now you don't, right? I'm going to use that top piece to hide our pipe cleaner. Okay, super duper cute. Nice fluffy bow there. Making sure I see all those layers. This still looks a little bit long, so I'm going to chop that one a little bit. Usually I wait until it's in the design, but that one does look pretty long. Okay, and then once it's in, then I'll adjust it even more, but I think we're in a good position. So super cute on that bow. And then what we have left, I might use to put right there. You'll see what I mean just a second. You know, there is a hole there still. All right, so here we go. I'm going to put those, so I'm going to, usually, and I said, I referenced this already, this is the longest part. Our first layer, those tails are the longest part of our bow. So typically, my bow typically goes to the bottom, and those edges come, and so that makes this being the bottom of my bow. However, in this one, I don't want the longest piece to go over the bow. I want the longest piece to go up. Here we go, because just like that. Super cute. Oh my goodness, I love this. Okay, so let's put our not zip ties. Let's put our pipe cleaners on now. You could have gone at the top and bottom. If you do with your pipe cleaner, you're going to see that pipe cleaner right there. Okay? So if you did, you would see the pipe cleaner right there. I'm trying to avoid that, so I put these in the back. Now, again, I did use a little bit of Dap Rapid glue. Don't forget to watch that instructional video. Just to help us connect and stay good. And of course, again, the goal is to cover all of those inside pipe cleaners. So even if I left all that extra pipe cleaner on there, everything would clearly be covered. Okay, so we're going to adjust it down just a little bit. A little bit, and this is always the tricky part. You hear me say it over and over and over again. It's always the tricky part, getting this pipe cleaner, and it's harder with some meshes. Some meshes that are like, some that are fabric is a little harder. So I'm just putting this pipe cleaner right through the mesh. I'm trying not to move it out of the way. Not trying. I'm not moving the mesh out of the way. The only thing I'd move out of the way is if I had a ribbon that was caught right where I needed to go. I would move the ribbon out of the way because I'm not going to end up putting the pipe cleaner through the ribbon. That would be pretty hard. Okay, so I'm moving this. As soon as I get those in place, that other one, I'll twist this over and I'll show you what I'm doing. So it's okay that those pipe cleaners at the top might be a little exposed because, again, I'm coming in there with the with the bow to cover. Let me just move with this to make sure this is where I want it to go. Perfection. I guess I didn't move it down too much, just a little bit. That's all right. All right, going right through the mesh. Now you see why I didn't bother to play with my ribbons yet, because I'm just moving them all over the place. And I'd rather just move them once at the very end. So again, this is the hard part, getting that right through. Sometimes I feel like my mesh is playing tricks on me. Come on. Oh, that's because I'm going in right where all of the border is. Okay, how do I get this in there? All right. Trickiest part of the whole entire wreath. Trickiest part. It usually doesn't take me this long. I'm so sorry. Come on. So what happens is the mesh, you know, it has all that those pieces going this way and the pieces going that way. What happens is your pipe cleaner is two wires wound together, and every single stinking time I'm putting it through, they want to separate and catch on that mesh, and it drives me insane. See, that one went through easy. Okay. Here we go. Before we tighten it, because I know it moved and shifted, before we tighten it, I'm going to shift it back in place. Turn it over to where I want it. I don't want it to move. Pull it in right nice and tight. Now I'm going to twist that right along the edge here so that I can stuff it in. Just want to be able to stuff that right in. Perfect. So there's that one, and then there's that one for this other part of the sign. And then again, it's not moving once it's in. Okay, still not touching my ribbon. Did just pull it down a little bit. Not touching my ribbon, Melissa. I'm tell myself that over and over and over again. Okay, here we go. We're going to come right up here. Right up here. Now again, I'm going to be going through all these layers and having fun. It's going to be so fun. Let's see if I can help guide myself. There we go. Now, I pointed out that the mesh, I'm sorry, not the mesh, the holes on the bottom, you wanted to use the holes that had a coordinating notch with. So at this moment, I'm kind of wishing that I paid attention to where I put the sign in, because those extra holes that are there can be used to, instead of going around the whole entire frame, which I'm working with now, but those extra holes can be used to help put our sign in place so that you don't have to go around the whole. There we go. This is going to be the best we're going to do. So you don't have to go around the whole frame. This one I had to go around the whole frame because it was just what was closest. Oh, it's so stinking cute. Let me zoom you out here a little bit more so you can see the full entire thing. Don't mind my mess. Okay, don't mind my mess. All right, I'm going to fluff the bow first. Now here are my longest pieces coming out. My first layer. So cute. This is perfect. This is the perfect blend, the perfect color match, the perfect bow to go with it. It's really cute, y'all. Again, thank you very much for those of you who purchased our kit. Thanks for watching, even if you didn't. The last thing I'm going to do here is what I always do. Again, they might mess up all while we're working. The last thing I do is come around and make sure no ribbons are hidden. None have overlapped and thought they were going to stay there. Oh, we got to make the extra bow. We're going to do that little extra bow. We're going to do that little extra. Which way is this? Oh, yeah. Make sure they end up in the right order. All right, that one just thought it was going to get completely out of order. We got to make sure it goes back in the right order. I kind of flip our little tailsies up here, because sometimes as I'm flipping it around, the edges of our ribbon gets flipped upside down. So I'm going to make sure those are all going the right way. And we're going to take the last pieces of our ribbon and we're going to do something right here at the end. So it'll kind of just... Now again, if you purchase this as a kit, if you follow the instructions, the measurements, you should have left over what I have left over, okay? So then you should have an extra little pieces of that bow ribbon, not of the tail ribbon, but of the bow ribbon. And we're going to use that right now. So pretty. Okay, I have my little glue gun going. It's ready for me. One thing, oopsie, did my video stop? Hold on, let me just make sure. Sorry, you probably are seeing this and it looks like my video stopped. Okay. One thing we're going to do, I'm just going to set this aside for a second. We have some extra pieces. So we're just going to take our extra pieces and we're going to put this on the, okay, so this is going to be the smallest. It's going to be the smallest. All right, let's make them, it's going to end up being really small. But this is the smallest. Okay, so we have one. And we're going to make this one super small too. Two. Oh, a little bit smaller. It's going to be really small. I didn't take the wire out usually. Sometimes when I'm doing this I take the wires out, but I didn't take the wire out just because I didn't. Just fold that all up, cut it at an angle. So I have a couple pieces here. Let's do this. There we go. Okay. Let's make this one a little bit smaller. All right. Now we're just going to just scrunch everything right up the center. It's so much easier once you have this piece kind of in place. We're going to scrunch it right up the center. Okay, hold it. Put those pieces the way you want them. Take my little tiny piece left over from where was it? The pipe cleaners. twist that nice and tight. Twist, 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 twist. And then I just bring that to a complete point, straight up, okay? And then I'm going to go back to my last couple pieces of ribbon. Oh, I'm going to use this one because this was the longest, I think, that I cut off. Okay, I'm going to fold that in, fold that in. Ooh. And I'm going to take our little piece of, our little, teeny tiny little glue gun here. I'm not going to cut those off because if I cut those edges, it'll start to unravel, and I don't want to risk that, but I do want to cover up our pipe cleaner here. So I'm just going to take this, it's just the one color I had left over. I'm going to just glue that in. And then get those two pieces on. So I'm okay with putting lots of glue back here so that it doesn't come apart. Oopsie, don't put your finger in it. Ooh, don't put your finger in it. And don't cut the pipe cleaner off, just cut off that excess piece. This is so cute. Now, you don't have to do this part, okay? You don't have to do this part. You don't have to do this part. But with that exposed hole there, the exposed hole, I'm just going to add something that just kind of, you know, takes over and covers it a little bit. Trying to not touch it too much because it's still burning my fingers. Okay, super cute. Then I'm going to take this piece and glue it right in here. Super cute. I should have adjusted my top just a little bit over to cover that, but it's fine. So right down here on the edge is what I'm looking for mostly, because I want that glue to go in, that pipe cleaner is going to go right in our little hole here, right in that hole. There we go. Those clamps are pretty gnarly. Although I guess I don't want that to glue to them. There we go. It's in there. Perfect. Okay. That's all. Just want to make sure that that pipe cleaner gets right through the hole. So what's gluing to right now, it's glued to the metal, but it's metal. And so what's glued to right now is under the metal. It's glued to the mesh and the ribbon that's under the metal. So that's what I was looking for. But look how stinking cute this is. This is one of my favorites. It's really cute. Nice and thin. So good to fit between the doors. Still nice and wide. Great big giant statement on your door. We're about 23, 24. So here's 24 inches exactly here. The ribbon just kind of comes out and kisses that 24-inch mark. I'll list it as 23 inches. Just, you know, I guess here's 23 inches. Right up there. Anyway, it's super cute. I'll totally love it. Thank you all so very much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed. Please make sure you're subscribed to all of our social media so that you can follow along and see our lives and see our recordings and all the things. Don't forget, learnfrommelissa.com is where you can find a list of all of our stuff, upcoming classes, favorite suppliers, favorite tools, some free resources, some free videos, all great list, all nice and neat, easy for you to click on. I am Melissa from Sincerely Creative Mom. I'm the owner here. Thank you very much for watching. I appreciate you all very much. Let me know in the comments if you enjoyed this video and what you liked the most. And until next time, I will see you again super soon. Bye, y'all.